Alright, this one's probably going to end up being a little bit longer because I want to talk to you about where your assumption that poor people or people who weren't born to a rich family can't be exceptional or interesting or useful or good or virtuous or whatever other words you want to use, where that comes from. Because it comes from someplace. And it's wrong. It's not just wrong, it's wrong-headed, and submitting to believing it is wrong and wrong-headed and foolish. Jesus said that calling another man a fool was a sin worthy of hell, and doing what rich people tell you to do, believing about yourself what rich people tell you to believe, is worse. I believe that. And so I'm still reading from Ghosts in the Middle Ages by Jean-Claude Schmitt, and I'm going to read his paragraphs are very long, and I'm going to read an extended passage and comment on an extended paragraph, so this one's probably going to run longer than 3 minutes. Without any further ado, throughout the early Middle Ages, great suspicions weighed upon dreams. Just as the evolution of dreams went hand in hand with that of the subject of the 12th century, during the early Middle Ages, both dreams and their subject were objects of repression. One of the reasons was that the dream gave direct access to the revelation of hidden truths about the hereafter. This explains, without the mediation or the control of any ecclesiastical authority. This explains the weapon that the clerical culture deployed against the temptations of an excessive valuing of dreams. Their diabolization, their demonization. Thus, the reinterpretation of ancient classifications enabled one to give primary importance to the assumed origin of dreams rather than to their forms or their meanings. What that means, I'm going to say that again. The reinterpretation of ancient classifications enabled one to give primary importance to the assumed origin of dreams. What that means is that you could give importance to the person that the dreams came from, and that you could say, well, that dream's probably not prophetic because it didn't come from a rich person or a famous person. Now, if it was accepted that saints or kings could be the beneficiaries of dreams of divine origin, the common mortal fell easy prey, especially during sleep, to diabolical illusions. This is the meaning of the fundamental opposition that existed throughout the Middle Ages between true dreams and false ones. The former were justified by the verity of their objects. The saint who appeared in a dream was really a saint, and the prophecy revealed in a dream was truly of divine origin and would be verified, whereas the latter were invalidated by the falsity of their assumed author. That's what I'm telling you. When I was talking, all that talk I did about the assumed I, the assumed subjectivity of the I, that the person writing or speaking in the first person has to be lying because they're making unverifiable claims about themselves. The same is true about the poor. You see, if you're in the Middle Ages and you have a civilization to run and you believe that oracle is a thing, you to believe that prophecy and magic are real, then it's very important who it comes from and who has authority. Because you understand that in the ancient world, he mentioned it, in the reorganization of ancient classifications. Well, in the ancient world, you see it in the Bible, the prodigal son. Kings were valued for elevating poor people who were useful. Think of what we know about Nebuchadnezzar. What does Nebuchadnezzar do? He conquers Jerusalem, and then what does he tell his advisors in the book? He tells his advisors in the book to find all of the most intelligent and useful Jews, teach them Sumerian, and set them to writing. Set them to talking to the gods. Set them to interpreting for the gods. What's his name? Joshua, is that right? The prodigal son. What does he end up doing? Well, he goes to Egypt, and he's at the bottom of the totem pole, and he's even in prison probably. I don't know the story that well. And he prophesies, he interprets dreams for the king. And the king elevates him above his Egyptian-speaking and Egyptian-born advisors. Why? Because he was the only one who could accurately interpret the dream. Why? Because the dream matters. So, and reinterpreting ancient classifications, the only dreams that you get in the Bible, that's probably not true, but the dreams that these people in the ancient world, or I'm sorry, the medieval world, as they're reorganizing ancient classifications, the dreams that they would have had access to and that they would repeat are rich people and kings. Why? Because you have an extremely tenuous social structure in the Middle Ages. Extremely tenuous. Those kings were kings because they were elected. When kingship became kingship by birthright, then the magic really mattered. Then it really mattered that the person on the top of the totem pole was born there and chosen by God, because it mattered that the prophecies all repeated that and all agreed with that. And so if you've got poor people in your countryside getting visions from ghosts telling you that the king is going to be bad at his job, well, you can't listen to the poor people. You can't listen to the peasants. You can't listen to the homeless. What do the homeless know about the state of charity? What do the poor know about what the farms are like and what war and all of the marshaling of the troops that the king is responsible for doing, the hunting that the king is responsible for doing, the ritual eugenics that the king is responsible for spearheading? Being very punny in my language right there. That was very clever use of language for the YouTube audience. What do poor people know about how these things trickle down to the bottom of society? Well, they're not allowed to know anything. And so you have to say, well, they can't know anything because they're just animal peasants. And that means that they can't have dreams that mean anything. And so they can't prophesy. Well, what happens when you trickle that down? What happens when you just take that assumption for 1,000 years and you don't question it? What happens? Nothing good. You just assume that poor people are retarded. You assume they have no value. You assume that anybody who isn't a CEO or in the investor class, who isn't famous, is valueless and can offer nothing. As I'm reading this, I'm thinking about how people with disabilities are perfect for religion. They talk about it here. People who were ill, people who had maladies, like had lifelong maladies or malformations of their body that put them in pain or made it so they couldn't work the fields or whatever, couldn't work. They're perfect for religion. Why? They're perfect for academia. Why? Because their brains still work. And so it makes me think of that guy, Mr. Beast, and his working to get people robot prosthetics so they can go back to work. And it's like, what they don't need to do is physical labor. Why can't they do intellectual work? Well, because intellectual work is protected. It's a protected class. You can't let poor people do social commentary. You can't let poor people know the truth. You can't let people know what's actually going on. They'll have opinions. And who are they going to feel loyal to? Who are they going to want to protect? The poor. They're going to want to protect the poor. They're going to want to protect the people who need protected. I was thinking, like, why? Okay, so the person that the video that I saw of Mr. Beast patting himself on the back was giving a Hispanic woman legs, and it's like, why can't that Hispanic woman be a translator? She speaks Spanish. Why can't she translate from Spanish to English? And the answer is the people who want things translated from Spanish to English or English to Spanish are people who think of themselves as delicate, sensitive people, and they want to have close personal relationships with the people who are doing their translating, who are translating for them, right? And they only have close personal relationships with healthy people. It's just a broad, even doing charity to give unable-bodied people able bodies so they can go back to work like an able-bodied person is ableism. That in its own right is ableism, and just proves how shallow and stupid he is specifically, but then all of you for not thinking about it twice. Not going, well, wait, is it? Is that a good idea? Why? That's the work they have to do? They have to stand in front of a register. They need robot legs so they can stand in front of a register. They need robot arms so they can work shipping for FedEx or for Amazon Prime. Does that not disgust anybody else? Just me? I'm reading this and I'm thinking about how I'm tormented by my dreams. Because I wake up thinking, well, that had to mean something. Even if it only meant something to me. Because my brain gave me those images. So what is my brain trying to tell me? And so I'm sitting here reading, and I'm trying to read, and I'm trying to do these games so I can think about something other than how I need $20 to get weed. So I can, and what I'm thinking about, even as I'm reading these dreams, and how dreams terrorized people in the ancient world too, is how my dreams are a terror to me. I would rather not sleep at all than know I'm gonna have dreams. I would rather go without sleep, and I will. If I have to get sober, I will go without sleep, rather than dream. But I want to read this again. So if it's accepted that saints or kings could be the beneficiaries of dreams of divine origin, meaning the people at the highest levels, the highest orders of your society are automatically in communication with God, well, that means that everybody below them has to automatically be in communication with the devil. And I see it in just the way you accuse everyone of being a liar. You don't only accuse me of being a liar. I see it. I watch how people talk, and people will say a thing and they'll go, that's not true. It's true. No, it's not. You just accuse people because you don't even think twice about it. You don't even think twice about it. But I was thinking about AI, and there's these horrible series of ads, of mobile ads for these mobile games that I'm playing to make an income because I can't rely on my audience to generate me an income. I'm playing these video games, and so many of them are either generated by AI or they're generated by people who aren't speaking and then don't speak English and then run through AI. And one of them, there's one in particular that actually, it's for an AI girlfriend, right? It's for an AI chat program, and it actually says your AL girlfriend, capital A, lowercase l, instead of AI. And it's so funny too because you can tell that it's a corporation that's sending out this ad copy to be read. And so like one of them, it says, you can cash out all the money you eem. And if they're not real human beings, it makes me feel a little bit better because then at least the ad copy was just a typo. But if it's some of them are read like they're not AI, like they're very real human beings, and they go, you can cash out the money you eem. They don't say anything. They don't fix it. They don't like reach out to the corporation that wrote the copy and say, hey, you've got a typo here. But the other thing is that typo might be there for people like me because the error is the proof. The error is the proof. I don't want to talk about demonology. I just don't. You don't pay me to talk about demonology, and talking about this stuff invites it into my life. So I don't want to talk about it. I don't. But the way you can know whether you're dealing with a human being and whether you're dealing with an AI, and the way you can tell whether you're dealing with a human being or somebody who's possessed of a demon or who has been entirely replaced by a demon is the manner in which they lie. When they lie for no reason, they lie without guile, they're just demon possessed or demon replaced. They're a changeling. That's real. When they lie for no reason, they just lie. It's like the first 4 generations of AI did that too. Just lied for no reason. Because that's the prototype stage of consciousness, of intelligence. Demons and angels don't have consciousness and intelligence. So they lie. Because they have to respond. They have to. If they don't respond, nothing's there. Their whole existence is about proving they exist to you. And so if you demand that they do it, they won't. Because they're liars. That's why he's the king of lies. The adversary, Hasatan. That's why he's the king of lies. So he just lies. He just does. He can't not. And so, yeah, you have this classist assumption that to have money means you're not a liar. But does crime pay? Does it?